I do my boobies. And my boobies. And my boobies. Hi guys. This is my little one right here. My little boobies. You see my little babies? Anyway. So I have been wanting to do this video for a while. Oh gosh, this hair. I have been wanting Bobby to do this video for a while. And actually I did do it. I did a clip and I'm lying. I did a full video, and then while reviewing it and trying to edit it, somehow I deleted the part of the video that was mainly important and only stayed with a clip of it. So if anything, I'll actually post it just so you guys see. But this year has been a really hard year for me. I've gone through a lot of things. And everything that I've gone through, though, I have I beat it. So with that being said, what did we say? You guys are going to serve as my therapy, as my just releasing shit. I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't really care about anybody's opinion to say where I just want to let shit out. I want to let it out and let it go, you know. That's it. Sorry guys, battery died. But anyway, I want to, you know, say what I want and not have to worry about, you know, people saying I'm sorry or I understand. No, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I don't want any of that. I just want to put it out there for people who are in similar situations and, you know, need that motivation, need that extra, you know, push. And know that regardless, no matter what happens in life, if you have faith, faith over fear, bigger than anything, you can overcome anything. I think that for my entire life, sorry, getting notifications. For my entire life, I have been through all kinds of shit. And the only reason why I have gotten through everything is because I've had faith over fear. It's not to say that I don't have fear. I've had tons of fear, but my faith, the drive that my faith has always overrides. God, I can't talk. My faith overrides fear. And even on sometimes where it's pretty hard and it doesn't, then, you know, I just beg. I will beg God. Just help me through this. Help me, you know, give me the strength. Give me whatever it is I need to get through this. I don't ask for anything easy. I just say, give me the strength to get through this. With that being said, I'm kind of glad that the last video that was supposed to be my first video got deleted because I think I was super emotional. I cried through practically everything, and you know, for my first video I didn't want to come off as like a crybaby, or you know, I just wanted to tell my story time and, you know, be an inspiration, a thought, a help to anybody who had gone through the same situation as me. So with that being said, I am a mom of 4 boys. I have a 19-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 11-year-old, and a 2-year-old. All boys. And then I have my 2 step kids who one is, oh god, what is she, 14, I think? Yeah. And she's the only girl. And then 8. Well, he's gonna be 8. So in total, my house ends up being about 8. Yeah, household of 8 pretty much. But anyway, oh gosh, sorry, hold that thought. Adrian, sorry, but he tends to let out all the water in our water jug. So anyway, you know, I was a single mom for a couple of years, raising my 3 boys because their dad pretty much just, you know, left them. With that being said, I've been a single mom for a couple of years, and then I ended up meeting my boyfriend, and you know, we've been living together, a relationship or whatever. But I think I've tried for the most part to be mom and dad in both roles, knowing that I could never be a dad, but I just wanted to be that discipline and try and be cool about it as a parent. And you know, they're boys, so they're just trying to make them feel as comfortable as possible when it comes to girls and everything, you know, just be more like that friend type and not, you know, very disciplined and everything. I think when it came to girls, I was a lot more laid back, and just be more disciplined as far as school goes and, you know, basics in life. So long story short, I got into, you know, they're in their teens, particularly Christian. He just turned 15, God. And, you know, I have noticed, you know, his temper a little more aggressive and whatnot. And so we got into an argument that day. And it escalated pretty bad because I think he was really disrespectful with his mouth. And I'm not gonna lie, you know, I had a rough day, and coming home to just them not doing chores and being disrespectful, it kind of all piled up on me. And, you know, him being disrespectful, I ended up slapping him, and just, you know, it was a bad day. And it escalated, it got worse, and, you know, he ended up leaving. I thought he was going to take a walk, and, you know, it's not like we don't do that. So I didn't care to, you know, chase after him. I figured, like, let him go for a walk, let him cool off, you know, whatever. I went about my day, did what I had to, came home, and, you know, my oldest son lets me know that he still wasn't home. So at that point, I think it was around 9-10 o'clock. So I didn't get worried too much because I'm thinking, again, you know, maybe he went to his friend's house, whatever. And then I think maybe around 11-12 o'clock, we all started to get a little worried just because it was dark. It started to rain, and not like drizzle, it was pouring. And he doesn't know too many people around here. And, you know, like our other family, it's not in walking distance. It's a far walk, a good half hour or so. And, you know, in the dark and the rain and not having a cell phone, it, you know, started to worry. But for whatever reason, I didn't think anything had happened to him. I wasn't too worried. You know, I think being the faithful person that I am, I think I was just very calm. And, you know, we went out to look for him and ended up coming back home around 1. And I actually slept in the living room because I thought, you know, maybe if he sees the lights on, he's not going to come inside. We have access where they can get in from the garage. So I thought he might just slip in. But I wanted to make sure that, you know, he eventually came home and I saw, so I stayed in the living room. Long story short, next morning he didn't come home, and, you know, I worried a little bit. And so I texted my cousin and I said, hey, you know, this was happening. This is what's happening. And she said, well, maybe he went to school. So again, I still wasn't worried at that moment. And then, you know, I called the school and they said that he showed up late, but that he was there. So I said, great. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, done worried. Kick his ass later, you know, whatever. But I wasn't worried. And I called his aunt and I'm like, hey, listen. But even she still wasn't that convinced. So, you know, his oldest brother and, you know, stepdad were like, oh, you know what, we're gonna pick him up from school. Long story short, I ended up finding out he did not go to school. The school apparently was mistaken because they don't mark them absent until the teacher does roll call, whatever. So fast forward to when the principal calls me back and he tells me that Christian is no longer there. I think I was at work that morning. And when he did that, I think my heart went into my ass. Like, you know, my heart sunk in for that second. I'm not gonna lie, I did every fear that a mother could have. I had it. I had a million thoughts run through my mind in that moment. And I thought I was gonna cry, and here I am crying. But anyway, in that moment, I knew I had to leave. And I couldn't even tell like my managers or anything. I just said to my coworker, can you please let them know? And, I ran out. And I got to the car and, I was driving and I went in panic. I think I did. I ended up texting his brother and Adrian, he's spitting his milk out. And just letting them know he's not in school, like alert. And so, I'm driving home and I had a million thoughts racing and, I was like, oh my God, at that moment, that's when every horrible thought, fear came in, and I thought like, he's in a bush, he's hurt, someone has him something, because Christian's not one to like leave the house or hang out with friends. He's, if you know him, you know that he's not like that at all. So I remember driving and like midway I had to pull over and I just lost it for a second. Like I started screaming in the car by myself and just hitting, the steering wheel. And, it was like everything. Like I was just screaming, God, like I cannot, the one thing that I've always prided myself in is being a mother. Being a single mother and, taking care of my kids. So the one thing that I've always prided myself in was that. And I said, if I failed and something happened to him, then I couldn't take that. It's the one thing that, I couldn't take. So, it was just like, God, I can't breathe. And, I eventually just felt like this sense of calm come over me. And I knew, faith over fear. I drove home and, even my boyfriend called me and I couldn't even answer. And I said, I can't talk. And I got home and I looked all over for him and in the house just to double check. And then, he ends up coming home and come to find out my son didn't even go to work that day. He had already started looking for him. And so, we were all searching and we began searching through the parks and the bushes. And it was the worst feeling in the world to look through the bushes for your son, hoping that you wouldn't find like a sweater or something of his. I don't wish that on any parent, and it's the hardest thing to go through. It sucks. It sucks because you question yourself as a mother, and I never have, and that was the first time in life that I questioned myself. I did. So, the principal called me again and he said, listen, I've talked to kids in the school and none of them have spoken to Christian or know where he is. So, at this point, I recommend that you call and file a missing report. And in that moment, we were actually going to go and do another search. But instantly in my heart, I just, when I hung up with him, I called the, police and I said I have to file a missing, and the officer came, and at that point, my cousin and my sister were here, and I had all the support I needed, and I hadn't actually cried in front of anybody at that point yet. I was very quiet, but I hadn't really cried in front of anybody. And when the officer came, he didn't even make it in my house because I remember him asking like, what's wrong or what's going on? Are you okay? And I remember just breaking down then in front, outside my home, just breaking down and crying to him, to this complete stranger that I didn't know, and just saying like, my son is missing. And I just broke down. It was at that moment, I think, the realization that I really had to file, a missing persons report for my son. I think that killed me. It took a huge piece of me. And, so long story short, we did it. He was awesome. Really good, really supportive. And so I just want to fast forward and say a few hours later, through my older son's friends, we ended up finding him. He came home, and this is kind of where I guess my therapy session begins, because he came home and I couldn't see him. I'm not gonna lie, he came inside the home, and I went to my room and I said, okay, I can't see him. You know, I knew that at that moment he was okay, but now I had to deal with my issues and my pain, because he took me to a place of fear that I had never experienced in my whole 34 years of life. And it wasn't something that I could just, you know, overcome in a few minutes overnight or whatever. So, you know, my sister, being as close as I am with her, she said, you know, I'll take him just so that you can, you know, get yourself together. So she took him, and, you know, he ended up coming back home for about 2 weeks, and, it was rough. It was rough. It wasn't working. I wasn't ready to talk to him. I didn't want to be around him. I was uncomfortable. And in my head, I just said, I need time to mend from this, because even that Sunday, you know, on Saturday he came back. This happened on Friday. Saturday he came back, and then that Sunday morning I completely had forgot that he was home, and I remember waking up and thinking, oh my God, Christian, like, where is he? Because I think it traumatized me, and you know, like I said, it killed me, and it took a piece of me that, you know, I wasn't ready for. I just needed to mend. I wanted to deal with all the emotions that I had, and then be able to talk to him calmly and, you know, point out, like, you hurt me, this and this and this, and I wanted to do it the right way. So, you know, he had emotions going on. He was hurt by me. I was hurt by him, and we weren't in a good place with each other. So he ended up staying longer with my sister, and you know, not Child Protective Services, but some kind of assistance reached out into helping. And so, you know, he's been doing his 8-week counseling, and he wasn't home. He was with my sister for a while, and now, you know, he's back home, and you know, our relationship is healing, and we're at a place that is probably better than we were before. And I think that, you know, as a mom of 4 boys, and, you know, trying to get everything done, sometimes you're just so tired and you don't realize how you talk to your kids sometimes. And, you know, I think that sometimes I'm just quick to demand and not really ask. So I think that, you know, I've learned to try and, you know, be more understanding and just be less aggressive in how I talk. I think I've been so used to and kind of put in my head that, you know, as a single mom, you have to be more aggressive because they're boys and whatever, that I forget that sometimes they still need, you know, that tender part. So I've tried to be, you know, more just better with them, better particularly with him, because, you know, I think my pain was that the fact that he did that, you know, I have a 19-year-old and he's never done that. And so for that to happen to me, I think it, you know, it traumatized me in a way and just made me, like, question everything. And it, you know, I don't want my kids to ever feel that way or think that they have to run from me or anything. You know, if anything, I want you to run from whatever to me, you know. And so, you know, I just had to deal with things, and it took a while, but I think, going back to what I was saying, we're at a better place now. I am, you know, he's back home and more comfortable. And the reason I didn't want to say that I kicked him out or any of that, he stayed at my sister's as a choice for him, and I didn't want to force him to stay home because, you know, coming from having, you know, dealt with my own childhood issues, I don't want to ever force you to be in a situation that you don't want to be in. So I felt like if he felt so uncomfortable to be home and with me, I wanted to give him the time that he needed to mend and, you know, deal with his emotions. And I wanted him to be home, not because I was forcing him to, but because he wanted to. And I think that I don't regret how I did it, because, you know, he's home, and he, you know, from 1 week of me asking for help to him just deciding to stay home on his own. And, you know, I've mentioned before, like, you can go back to your mom, your aunts, you know, if you want, for whatever. And, you know, he's good home. And so, God, this is a long video. I'm already at 17 minutes. But, what I want to say is to any mom of boys, of teens, of girls, of anything, is that, especially if you're single, it's hard. It's 100% hard. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand. And I think we hold ourselves to a higher, you know, standard, because you just, you know, you have to be that extra support that they don't have. And, you know, sometimes you are so focused on being mom, and that aggressive mom and dad that you sometimes forget that emotional part. And for me, you know, I've just always been, you know, hardcore with them. Even when their dad was in the picture, I was always disciplined person. But I, you know, just want to tell you guys that, you know, him running away, that took, you know, it's hard for me, but I want to say that it's okay. You know, these are teen issues. Even the officer had to say to me, you know, I have 2 daughters, and one, you would think that because I'm an officer, she's afraid of me, and she's not. You know, and I think that we try to be super mom and super dads, and we forget that at the end of the day, we are human and we make mistakes. And it doesn't make you a bad parent. What would make you a bad parent is not learning from your mistakes and doing better. We're all learning, you know, and we commit mistakes daily, and it's not about the mistake. It's about what you take from it and learn, and do better. You know, like everything in life, whether you fail, I don't feel like anything that you fail in is technically a real failure, because I feel like if you learned from it, you know that the next time anything like that comes around, you're not going to do the same. So it's not technically a fail. I feel like you learn from it and you'll do something better. So you're never really failing, if you learn from anything. So I just want to remind moms particularly, you know, and dads, if you're single, that, you know, it's okay if these things happen. It doesn't make you a bad parent, a bad mom. Just know that things happen, and it's okay. You know, faith over fear, like I say. As long as you pray about it and take the time that you need for yourself, then I think I'm a perfect example, and I'm sure there are far more other people to show that you can overcome anything. You just have to believe and want better and do better for yourself and for your family. This is probably a super long first video, but this is my first video to you guys, and it's my storytelling. I hope that, you know, you guys, moms, anyone, you get some kind of inspiration from this. You know that it's okay to fail. It's not really a failure, and that you're human, and it's okay. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my next story or session or who knows what. Thank you guys. Bye. Welcome to Shades of Her. I sounded pretty intense there. Sorry guys, I am sick, but I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. Bye.